incredible! This is
The Grove Podcast.
Hello, my name is Tabs and welcome to episode 140 of The Grove Podcast. And we're recording this Sunday evening, 36 minutes after the final whistle. Normally I do a bit of prep for these pods, but that's not the case with this one, so apologies if it's a bit clunky. Anyway, thank you for listening, and yeah, we're just going to go through what did just happen, and maybe more of an emotional response than a cerebral one, but we'll try. One thing I did want to mention was that I guess Rice won the midfield battle against Caicedo today, because as far as I could tell, Caicedo was anonymous from the 35th minute.
I didn't see him in the second half at all. So.
Exactly. Where was he? God, he went missing. And the dulcet tones you just heard joining me today to review what we've all just experienced is Kuziva. How you doing? And how are you doing?
I am calm now. I am all right. About 25 minutes ago, I was a bit more frustrated and angry, but I'm good. Glad to be back on the pod.
It is indeed. It's a pleasure to have you. And before we get on to dive in and get our response to the game, as always, if you can give us a nice little subscribe, leave a rating, comment, follow us on the socials, join on the podcast apps. That's greatly appreciated. Helps with the algorithm, helps other people get to hear about the pod, and it would be nice if you could do that. So, if you've got a spare few minutes, that'd be great. And we do notice the difference. So, anyway, enough of that. Chelsea won, Arsenal won at Stamford Bridge, and always, as always, what was your highlight and low light of that game?
Highlight is we've extended our unbeaten streak at Chelsea, so that's our fourth home. Our first home was Emirates, second home is the second and third is two Tottenham stadiums, and the fourth home is Stamford Bridge. So disappointed about the 1-1, but we kind of owned them at their home. Low light was just how disjointed we were throughout the game. There was just not a lot of penetration, but it's fine. We've had some big games in the last 10 days or so, or less.
Yeah, a bit less. Yeah,
I get it. How about you?
Yeah. Well, for me, my highlight is the fact that it's over. It's just my most hated fixture. I hate this club with a passion, and I hate this fixture away Chelsea, and I've just been dreading it. Like Chelsea, Tottenham last week, I was breezy, happy, joyous. I didn't feel any issues there. Bayern, there was a nice game, bit of a free hit, enjoyable, whatever, and they both turned out really well. But there was just something about this game, something about playing Chelsea, something about their fans, and I've been having a few discourse with them over the weekend on the socials, and I'm looking forward to my meeting with the headhunters. I've been invited along for a gathering to have I think they were inviting me just to have a sort of informed discussion about our respective teams. I'm not too sure, so we'll see what happens. I'll report back. I just want this over, and I wanted it over just making sure we didn't lose. My primary feeling, and I think this feeds into how I feel about this game, is I just did not want to lose to that lot. So my highlight is that it's over and done with, and I can forget about it. For now. My low light was our lack of composure. And we will get into that. Just our lack of general composure on the ball, our ability to sort of take control, especially with 10 men. Yes, we dominated, but as a result of more about Chelsea sitting deeper and not being as aggressive rather than us taking control of the game. So I was a bit disappointed with that, and that was my low light. And the fact that I say it with gritted teeth, we have to give some credit to Chelsea, the way they played us. I think they set up pretty well against us. So, it was was it us? Was it them? I think it's a bit of both. So that led to that result. And I said we will dive into all of that in a bit. But so to start off with, the lineup and another shock. Or should we be shocked anymore by injuries? I mean, it's
the Arsenal way.
It's the Arsenal way. And it feels like we're having to play this season with one arm tied behind our back or one foot kicked off or something like that. So we found out before, at 3:15 that Saliba was missing due to a knock in training. which was, I think, a surprise to everyone, and especially because he turned up with the team.
Mm-hmm.
But Arteta said, yesterday in training he was uncomfortable. Get a cushion. So we need to explore a little bit more what happened. I don't think it's something major, but not enough for him to be involved in the game. So then not only did we not have Big G, we had Maresca and Capia in the middle, and then I think even though we had the return of Odegaard, the return of Madueke, the return of Gyökeres, and Jesus. It was the expected lineup, or actually, I'm surprised Martinelli started over Madueke. I was thinking Madueke might start, but yeah, how did you feel about that lineup when you heard about it? Did it give you more anxiety and thought, oh my god, and did it change your perspective on the game beforehand?
Yeah, so I'm generally, this very positive Arsenal fan. When I saw Saliba was out, it was definitely it was a surprise, but I do trust in the players we've got. Mosquera started quite well since he's joined, and as much as Hincapié hasn't played as much, we know his caliber. He's an invincible captain of Ecuador. The one game he started was it 2 weeks ago? He did really well. So
he started against Tottenham. Yeah,
yeah. Sorry, I missed that. I was in Italy, but yeah, I expected him to show up. And I think that they held their own, but it's always going to be a bit weird when you lose your one key defender and then your other key defender just before a game. So
yeah, it's unsettling.
Not too surprised. I didn't think Madueke would start because he did just come back from injury. I know he played in the game against Spain, but Martinelli also showed that he deserves a starting and he got his shot. But I think, as you said, Chelsea really set themselves up quite well. So there's not much you can do regardless of who starts in a situation like that.
The last two Premier League games that we played without Saliba and Gabriel, I think, was a 2-1 win versus Southampton. That's fine, and then a 5-0 loss against Man City. So, read into that what you will. So, and then there was no Trossard either. So, I think we've got to the point because we had Gyökeres, because we had Madueke, because we had Jesus on the bench. I think there's again no point risking him. I think we missed him today. But so no Trossard on the bench either. But you said we've got this deep squad. I think we trust it, and then you go into it. Not ideal, but you sort of go into it. So still a very good team, still a very good attacking team. Our midfield, our attack, our width, our keeper. So we see. But I think as I'll mention later, I think it was the key difference in terms of how we played and how the game turned out. So overall, an odd game to analyze. Not one of a lot of football or great chances, but we had 62% possession to their 38, which again not surprising given the red card. They had 0.79 xG to our 1.26. They had 11 shots to our 8. We both had 4 on target. They had one big chance, we had 2. We both missed a big chance. 12 fouls committed by them, 13 by us. And 3 corners each. So it fairly even. It sort of doesn't really tell how the game played out, but as such, or especially the beginning part. So how did you feel? Well, you said you were fairly confident, so not in terms of how you felt before the game. So what were your overall thoughts of the game? In general, the performance and how it played out. You were referencing to me beforehand, and before that you were frustrated. But what's your immediate response to that game, given it was only finished 40 minutes ago?
So I mean, the immediate response was frustration, because it felt like we didn't play our game at all. Shout out to Enzo Mosquera. He set up his team really well, and I think I had a dream about it. I don't know, was it a flashback? But I remember nightmare or a nightmare. But I remember thinking about how he set his team up against PSG in the Club World Cup. Granted, PSG had played 60 games that season. Last season, he's a tactician. He's good at setting up his team well in some of these big game situations. So I had a feeling that was going to happen, and it did. They showed up, But then after reflecting, we had a big game against Tottenham, where I'm sure as much as we absolutely cooked them, there was a lot of energy that we exerted in that game, right?
Emotional energy as well.
Emotional energy and psychologically, like we went in there thinking that, okay, it's a derby, but it felt like, poor man's derby for Todd. And then we had Bayern Munich. Again, a really, really, really tough game. Psychologically, they were on it. The fact that it was 1-1 at one stage, and then we had to then score 2 goals to end up winning. Reflecting, I think the boys are, they've exerted a lot in the last few days, and the fact that we don't have 2 of our key centre backs, were arguably top 3 centre backs in the world. I'm going to say top 2 because I used to say top 3 when Van Dijk was.
Yeah, he's past it.
I'm just going to say top 2 now. And we didn't have those guys, right? So after reflecting, I know it's been 45 minutes now.
Yeah.
There was frustration, but I'm happy with the draw, especially with how we've played.
Are you more frustrated because they went down to 10 men? So we had 60 minutes of a game playing against 10 men, or were you frustrated before the sending off? What particularly sort of frustrated you? About that sort of. Are you frustrated the performance or the result, or so where do those frustrations stem from?
Yeah, it is the performance more than anything. It felt like we weren't winning the second ball. It felt like we were struggling with the basics for the first 20, 30, even 40 minutes. When they got the red card, I didn't think that, this is our game, because teams become more structured and pragmatic when they get a red card, right? I mean, we literally saw United, was it United, who lost to a team with
Everton. Yeah, they lost to 10 men. Everton is similar.
So,
Lorraine,
10 men just means that it's going to be harder. So it was just, it didn't seem like we were doing just the simple basics right. And that was a frustration, more than anything. That was a big frustration. So but again, going back to my point earlier, we've done a lot in these last few days, not even weeks, literally it's been a week. So I don't want to say I'm not surprised, but Chelsea are second for a reason. They've been doing all right since they stopped losing. It's annoying, but I hope that as we move on to the next game, there's a lot of breaks coming into the next.
There's not a lot of breaks.
No,
I sort of get it. So it's good that it's the performance rather than result. Because I normally do very quickly after the game, like on the socials, of what I call an immediate response. So I'll just read that out and then I expand on that. So I just I said I'm glad that's over. Not great, but a point away at Chelsea will do, even with their red. Third big game in a week. Missing both Big G and Saliba is massive and meant we lacked control and composure from our base and hindered our build-up. Credit to Chelsea for how they played us. And look, it wasn't the best performance. We didn't create a great deal. We had no real control. The first half was a real battle, but also I think a lot of people, if you'd have said you'd take a point away to Chelsea and move on, you'd take it. Of course, we want to win, but you think, okay, I think they'll end up fourth in the league before we played them, given the results. But I predicted 1-1, and I think you take the point and move on. And I'm not reading too much in the red card. You said Chelsea went structured, they went controlled. It meant it was a bit easier for us. But I think the main key thing, it was the main consideration was the fact that we did have both Saliba and Gabriel, and it is what you don't realize is how much control they bring, control and composure they bring to the game, just like that security. And from the base, and we build from that base. Raya passes it out to them. You just a marked difference. And not saying Hincapié is not a bad player or Mosquera is not a bad player. They're very good players, but there's a big difference playing Brighton at home in the cup to playing away at Chelsea, and they were up for it, and their players were flying in. There was a lot of aggression, and and we were doing a lot of just hoofing the ball, clearing the ball. So we didn't have that composure where you didn't feel that it had that security. So you give away in the ball, then come back quicker. Yeah, and they just looked a bit nervous. But without Saliba and Gabriel, we just missed that in that build-up. That first line of our build-up was missing, and then everything stems from there. So then you can't get it into the midfield in the right way. The ball's not passed into the right areas, maybe, or accurately enough, or whatever. And then then you're just always you're basically always one step behind, and I think that's basically why it was a big difference. Now, if you've got one of them there, at least you've got 50% of them, and Saliba's always very good with progressing the ball, but he's passing out. But we missed a lot of that, that those routines that we have where it gets to Saliba, then out to Timber, then to Saka. So that's partly us, but also partly how you said how Maresca set up Chelsea. They just did not give us an inch. They didn't give us a sniff. They were very sort of they didn't press high. It was a very soft press, so they were sort of half-hearted. But as soon as it got into the midfield and into our attacking line, they were in man on man, up our asses, very physical. Didn't give anyone a sniff. Didn't give anyone any time. We also had a couple of players off it. Calafiori seemed to be a bit off it. Mm-hmm. So I think it was just a combination of things. And I think even with 10 men, which gave us a bit of advantage and meant we had a bit more space, I don't think it changed a lot. We still missed a bit of that build-up, and maybe we needed to do the subs differently or earlier. But yeah, so that's my overall thing. It's just that, and sometimes games are like that. We were brilliant against Tottenham. We were brilliant against Bayern, but it's the third big game in a week. The opposition have had a lot to say, and maybe you just take the point and run, even if they were down to 10 men. Now, look, tomorrow, I might feel regret it, think we missed the chance. But also, we did well to keep 11 players on the pitch. Yeah, and I'm sure that the psyche of having to play like that, because you could see not Anthony Taylor himself, but the Chelsea players were trying to get our players sent off. So even that impacts how your fluidity and how you approach a game. So yeah, so that's how I feel the sort of game played out, and that's why I can take 1-1. But I can also see why people are angry at missing that opportunity. Do you agree?
Yeah. 100%. On the points around just the discipline, Anthony Taylor, he was trigger happy today. And coincidentally, I actually wanted to say this to you guys earlier this week. If you look at the top 20 teams in Europe right now, we have the best discipline record. We had 12 yellow cards that shot up to 18 today. Because of the 6 yellow cards. So we've been doing really well just managing the game and being disciplined, and the tactical fouls aren't cynical. So it is a proper derby. Like sadly, Tottenham can't do this. Chelsea, they did, and shout out to them for stepping up and making it difficult for us. But I agree with your points. As you said, like the big thing is really the spine. Losing both players is not something that we had thought about when we were buying all these players and thinking about, okay, cool, we've got a big squad. We never thought that would have them both out. But here we are, going to literally the biggest game of the season so far, because they're doing well. And we don't have our key centre-back pairing. But I will take the 1 point, and I hope tomorrow I don't feel regret. I feel like it's 1 point gained.
Yeah. No, indeed. And on the yellow cards, and just in general how we would dive, we yellow cards, and just in terms of how we were defending, and say last ditch, we were making a lot of last ditch challenges in and around our box, so you could see that pressure. And on the yellow cards, I was just saying, just as long as he's even and he's fair, which I think in the main he was. There might be one 50-50, but I think in the main, I don't think there was any yellow card. Maybe Zubimendi's was a bit soft, but I think Mosquera, Calafiori, Hincapié, Gyökeres, and I don't know who the other one was. MLS. I think they're all deserved, and 2 or 3 of them were our own fault. Calafiori, again, caught dozing, and the same MLS caught a bit dozing. So I had no issues with that, and I don't think he did that bad a job. And especially, I think we were lucky because they went down to 10 men. I think the temperature of the game died down in the second half. So I think that helped our cause in terms of keeping 11 men on the pitch. But everyone was saying in the group chat, that's going to be evened up at some point. Someone's going to get a second yellow. So I think we did well to keep 11 men on the pitch. And I think all these things have to be taken into consideration with the result. Even though a lot of people are going to be focusing on, you play 10 men, why didn't you beat a team with 10 men? And I think that's a bit too simplistic, if you ask me. So look, that first half, and it was a sort of a game of not quite two halves, but two parts. So up until the 35th minute, it was a battle. It was a fight. It was, Caicedo was just going around being a one-man demolition derby. Just, I don't know, he seemed to be extra psyched up, whether he was believing the hype about him versus Rice, whether he was too hyped up about Chelsea, but he was going around, but all of them, and all of them, where there was a lot of big challenges in there, and then fine, I'm trying to look at all the sort of highlights. So all I'm seeing here is what a tackle by Rice in our box to stop Neto. That was that was a great tackle, because you see either one, a penalty, or two, him scoring. Estevao had a shot, but I don't think it was shot from the edge, sort of just running onto it from the edge of the box. Hincapié got caught, but we managed to defend well. Fernandez had a shot, but rare saves. So not a lot really happening. There wasn't a lot of football going on, and then there was the big incident. So how did when you saw it, were you red straight away? Were you thinking they're not going to give it? How did you see the Caicedo red? Well, Caicedo foul, which eventually turned into a red.
It's funny you say, did you think that they wouldn't give it? I did, actually. And so I saw the replay, and I was like, if they don't give it, then it's all of us. Like, this is a script. Someone writes it up, a season before, and it's all planned out. But it was a clear red card, and I think any Chelsea fan who saw that in real time and then saw the replay will probably agree. Stands up, there's no ball, hits him high up above his ankle. That was a red card through and through. And going back to your point, it did seem like he was just trying to show up. Referencing the PSG game again, they set up in a similar way, in the sense that they had James and Caicedo just all over the pitch, just trying to spoil.
Yeah, they were, both of them. Yeah, particularly. I also remember. I'm just looking back now. Yeah, James as well. Yeah,
all over the pitch, just trying to roughhouse. So
disrupt,
great call, not great. It is a call that the referee should have made, and he made it. The annoying thing for me, and maybe that's also part of the frustration in my FPL, I took out Saliba and I kept Caicedo because he's doing really well and he tackles. And the guy who I kept got a card. The guy who I didn't scored a goal. It is what it is. But
I'm not having any FPL biases on here. I'm sorry.
It is what it is. But no, I mean, there's not much to say about that. The great thing is he has been a key player for them. And
he's out for 3 games now.
Exactly. So I'm not mad about what happened, because they're missing their key player for the next 3 games.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it was the textbook definition of what a red card is. Excessive force.
Yeah.
The ball wasn't there, high on the ankle, out of control. I mean, Marino was lucky that he was lifting his foot off the ground as he was contact. Otherwise, that could be an ankle breaker, and it could be another injury. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, look, you can forgive the referee maybe not seeing it real time, angles, whatever, but I'm pleased that it went to VAR on field review, and I think the correct decision. Took a bit of a while, and it started to be a bit doubtful. But if that's not a red card, then I don't know what is, and deservedly so. And he was trying to look all innocent and stuff, but yeah, he was just he knew he was in trouble. So you know that thing, I'm in trouble, I'm going to stay down, pretend I'm injured. So yeah, and again, no, we saw that, but we did think the way this game's going, it's not going to fit. I think we all knew there was going to be red cards somewhere in that game. But the way we all thought also then it was going to even up. But luckily, so we needed to be smart. We needed to be clever, smart about that, and we were. And then really the only major attacking opportunity we had in the second half was there was a really nice counter in the 46th minute, Rice, which eventually Rice sets up Martinelli, and he hits it really nicely. And you think, this is nestling in the corner, and Sanchez going the wrong way did really well to get to it. I think it was a football width nearer the post that's going in and he's not saving it, but it was just, yeah. And Sanchez did all right today. He's always a bit of a liability for them, but I think shot stopping, he did a couple of good shots. So yeah, not much of a football match in the first half. It was a battle, but hey, we stood up. We can play all types of football. If you want to fight us, we'll fight you back. You know, we will not. The Arsenal teams of the past would have maybe sort of cowed to that, or you know, we stood up. You know, we stood up for ourselves, and we met fire with fire, so to speak. And yeah, it wasn't brilliant. I think again, get to half time, don't be losing. Let's see how the second half goes. And the second half went, and you're thinking, okay, right, settle in, defense versus attack, and then all of a sudden, Pedro Neto has a header which Rare did really well to stop, and then from the resulting corner, Chalobah scores the opener, and what can you do? It's a corner. We've done this to people in the past. It was flicked on, near post header, looped over everyone into the far corner. Should we have had someone on the post? Well, if our tactic is not to, and we haven't let in goals from corners, then that's it. We do seem to be a bit more vulnerable and get big G's not playing at in defence, and that was particularly one thing that happened last year when Gabriel went out of the team. We started becoming more vulnerable from set pieces, and it was very similar. I don't know if you remember the Marino goal against Chelsea at Emirates last season. It was very similar to that. So in terms of near post flick on, goes everyone far post. So yeah, not a lot you can do. Not a lot you can do.
No, I mean, as you said, we do that to teams all the time. So just frustrating that it happened to us. And yeah, there was no one on the far post. I initially thought it was offsides. I was like, it's not offsides. You're just hoping for the best, because he went in, or he did go into an offside position, but it was way after the ball had been crossed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
wishful thinking. Not much you can do about that.
Yeah, and look, the narrative is about Arsenal, but Chelsea, I think, Chelsea and Arsenal are the numbers 1 and 2 in set play threat this season. They've had 8 goals from set plays. We've had 10. They've got 4.8 XG from set plays. We've got 7.5. Shots from set play, 41 to their 50. 41 to them to our 56. So the odds of a set piece goal happening today. And it isn't just Arsenal. They're Chelsea actually good at defending and attacking set pieces. So it's sort of not a surprise. And if you've got a set piece when you've got 10 men, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. So it's just is what it is, one of those things. And I'm not sure we could have done much different from that. Maybe we could have prevented the actual threat initially, but from the corner itself, nothing you can do. We did make, actually before that at halftime, we did make a sub, Calafiori off, MLS on. Yeah, Calafiori I don't think was having his best game, and maybe MLS brings something different to the game. Calafiori wasn't marauding, he wasn't getting much chance, and maybe the way the second half was going to go, Timber would be more of a threat, and then MLS sits in a bit tighter, so we'll see. We did then bring on Odegaard and Madueke for Martinelli and Zubimendi, which is fine. I think the game was crying out for Odegaard because of the control factor, and Madueke for the narrative factor. But and then not soon after, and I think it was really important that we did score soon after their goal, was Johnny on the spot, or Mikel on the spot. Marino, the one time that actually Saka got the better of Cucurella and put in a decent cross today, and Marino was there with a smart header, right time, right place. Great cross, couldn't really miss it, and 1-1. And so everyone's thinking, right, we've got the goal, now let's go and get the winner. Yeah.
Great cross, great goal. As you said, one of the only times really that Saka did quite well against Cucurella. And to be fair, it's always a battle between those two. And that's one thing that I knew was going to happen. I knew it was going to be a struggle for him. But Cucurella, as much as I hate him and the fact that he doesn't tie his hair down, he's good. Right? He steps up when he needs to step up. That's why he's the starting Spanish left back. But good goal. And after that, I think we all believed, because there was a lot of time left. There was still 30 minutes left.
There was 30 minutes, 34 minutes left. Yeah.
We really thought that, this is our time. But we just we own possession. We just couldn't penetrate. It
Yeah.
was it was interesting. And I know that they had 10 men, so they had to be a bit more pragmatic in their defense. But there was no magic that we've seen recently that we expect from our team. And I think what they also did really well was trying to make sure we don't get any corners. Because if we not going to score an open play, our next net is a corner.
Is a corner. And they also had threat, counter, the likes of Neto, the likes of Garnacho. We had to be wary of that. And there was one time there was like a 4v3, and there was one when Neto selfishly had a shot, and that's when all his players had busted the gut to get up there, and everyone's looking at him going, "What the fuck are you doing?" We're happy with shot wide. So there was also that threat on the counter that we had to do. But no, we are thinking, right, let's go and win the game. I myself was still right, 1-1. Can we turn it off now? I just don't want to see this anymore. I just don't want to watch this anymore. It's horrible. Even with 10 men and 1-1. But you're right. We should is a very dangerous win. We had the opportunity to go on and win the game, and I don't think we grasped that opportunity. And I say there's multiple reasons why. And on Cucurella as well. So I don't think Saka's ever really got the better of Cucurella in a match. Cucurella has Saka's number every time, home and away. I don't think Saka's really ever had a game where I've got you on toast, and every time it's just like it's like the kryptonite to Saka. I think there was at least one time he got the chance, and he did get away a couple of times, but this wasn't one-on-one with Cucurella. But I think Cucurella really, really, really does a really good job on Saka, and so that's why it's even more pleasing that he actually did for once get that and then put in a fantastic cross for him. We did make further changes, so we got Eze off and Gyökeres on, get the man at front, bring Marino into midfield. Maybe he could have taken Marino off. Don't know. Maybe it was a bit cautious. Maybe he needed a bit of more that craft against the the two banks of five or whatever. So but maybe then they were thinking might get corners, so we have Marino's height, so it's a bit, and then maybe there's a threat on the counter by Chelsea. So that's the one that you maybe think didn't get quite right. Gyökeres on was the right one. Who comes off? Not so sure. And there wasn't really much after that. There was a chance where Saka could have got the ball across, and he just got it late, and it was just square ball, and three players were waiting to tap it in.
Oh my God, yeah.
Delap, I know, it was like Delap had a shot. Ray makes a decent save, and then another good save by Sanchez. I don't know who shot, and then Gyökeres went lunging in, and he just didn't push the ball out far enough, like another yard, and that's Gyökeres gets it, but instead he ends up clashing with the keeper.
Yeah.
And then the 94th minute, you could hear the collective slap of heads in hands.
Yeah.
as Timber takes it off Gyökeres' head. It was a free header. It was I leapt off my seat. It was like, that was Gyökeres' ball. It was like,
that's horrible. Of Arsenal, right? We have our right backs and left backs sometimes in the box doing things like that.
Yes.
When it works, it's great. When you need your striker to be that clutch play in that moment, it's not so great. It's a learning. It has to be a learning. Like surely someone is calling for that. Surely Gyökeres is calling for that. Skip. But I think it happened so quickly that maybe he called and he didn't hear him, or he didn't call at all because it was just too quick. But that was tough to watch.
Oh God, this pod actually, I'm starting to feel worse. I'm like, oh shit, should have won that. Should have won that one. That was it. 94th minute. It was Gabriel against Newcastle over again. Just get out of the way, Tim. But but just leave it. Well, I don't know what's the Swedish for leave it, or the Dutch for leave it.
We have to learn it for next time when back in the box.
Yeah, I've got my son Gianluca sent in a great 3-word review on that one. But that was the game. That was the point. And oh my word, if that had gone in. So I'm starting to see now the regret is all coming in now. So it's starting my sanguine 1-1, and I'll take it. And it's now really God, that was just like Anyway, it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be, and I think both teams I think settle for that to a certain extent. Chelsea definitely more so than Arsenal. Any players that stood out in a good way or not so good way for you in the game?
Declan Rice will be my player who stood out. I think he was, even though it was a scrappy game, he still was dominant there. He was probably the only player who was winning, who won more second balls than any other player within our side. And it's what we expect, we really got him half price. It's insane. So he stepped up. And as much as there was instability about having our preferred centre-back pairing, I think that the guys who came in, they did an all right job. Like, I think they are not Saliba and Gabriel, who are top two, but they did a good job. They held their own. So I'm going to give them like a low-key shout-out.
Okay.
And yeah, Merino, he's a busy guy. I can't fault him. I know you mentioned that maybe he should have come off earlier, and I think it made sense to bring him on. I mean, just keep him on while we're getting an attacker. And I think he held it together in the midfield, because Odegaard, when he came on, he didn't. It was his first game in a while, right? So it would take some time. So those are my key call-outs, my shout-outs. Declan Rice, as usual, and then our two centre-back pairings who had to replace, the best of the best.
It's not easy for them to come into that atmosphere, that big a game. Again, I said, luckily they had played together. I think it was the Brighton Carabao Cup game. Not easy for them, and especially the way Chelsea played. So you could tell they weren't hugely comfortable, but I think they sort of grew into it. And you're right, Bryce. He's cleaning the tackle. He's around there. He was sort of driving force. Behind our team. So he really stood out as a player, not trying to make things happen, but he also didn't get caught up in all the silly fouls or giving away stuff. I don't think anyone really was brilliant today, but he was the best of the lot out there, and really stood up. And as I said, he showed Caicedo up. It shows like that's how you do a midfield job. That's how you go into these games. You can still be dominant. You can still win tackles. You can still be aggressive. You don't have to go around kicking people, trying to break people's legs and all the rest of it, and be uber aggressive, because guess what? When you're that emotional, you're out of control. And Caicedo was out of control, whereas Rice really had his motions in check. So I think a big shout out to Rice, and everyone else we've called out. So in terms of the league, so that's 13 games gone. So that's is that a third of the way through now? Is that a third of the way through? Third of the way through. 1-9, drawn 3, lost 1. Plus 25 against 7. So we got a goal difference of plus 18. So there's still the best goal difference in there. And we're on 30 points, and Man City are in second on 25 points with a plus 15 goal difference. So, and then Chelsea in third with 12 points with 12 goal difference, and Villa creeping up, into fourth with again 24 points plus 5 goal difference. So look, still a very good, strong position to be in. You're not going to win every game.
No.
I think against your rivals, don't lose away, win at home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or and if you don't win at home, don't lose at home. So I think it's job done. Yes, it'd be nice to be 9 points. 8 points clear. But no, actually 32, 7 points clear of their mate of Chelsea, but. And 9 of Chelsea, but again, we're not going to go winning every game. It was a tough game, and I think we'll take this position, and we can still laugh at Tottenham.
Yes,
we can still. We're almost, after 13 games, after a third of the season, we're almost double their points tally. They're on 18 in 12th position. And oh my God, they're just showing what a ridiculous humiliation of a club they are. So that is very funny. So that was very important that we can still laugh at them given their result. So there we go. But you would take that. I would think you would take that. And so on to the 3-word reviews. And whilst I try and find some, what was yours? What was yours in the end?
Mine was We Go Again.
We go again, indeed. We go again against Brentford on Wednesday, which we will do a preview of shortly. So I had the pleasure of my Chelsea supporting nephew watching the game with me today, and my son was back from university for the weekend.
Oh, cute.
And actually, it wasn't too bad. He was quite gracious, Bradley. So he was quite good, and we were having quite good discussions during the game. I was a bit like when Gianluca, my son, asked, "Oh, can he come around and watch the game with us?" And I said, "Why would I want to watch the game with a Chelsea fan? And I hate this bloody club and all the rest of it." But actually, fair play to Bradley, he was good. So he said tense, chaotic, aggressive. Yeah. And that was just Caicedo. And Gianluca said Victor should have shouted, which
yeah, you did.
he certainly should have certainly shouted louder for sure. So all right, let me go on to the socials. So on to, there we go. We go on to Blue Sky, and we had Mr. C, the Gooner, said frustrating, disappointed, relieved. Yeah, I get that. He also came back with another one saying bridge too far, which I guess is reference to again the third game in a week, and it's tough. So Lucy Gooner came back with hard-earned point, I think it was, and Sid Silk on Blue Sky said still 5 clear. We are, so yeah. I think we can take that. Let me just go here and refresh on Threads. So we have Threads. The Johnny man will take it. Yeah, we have to. Carolina Gunner said wasted opportunity. Gunners. Okay, yeah, she's on that camp, and there are a lot of people there. Groovy Cathers too said held our nerve, kept 11 players. I think that last one was definitely a big part of that. Kept 11 players. Jessica Teresa's frustrating. Moving on. Yep. Micah J7 MMA fight tied. Yeah, it did feel like that at times. And then we have Arsenal Austin. All right, it's whatever. And my sort of favourite, no, not my favourite, but made me laugh. The referee's a wanker. Referee's a wanker. I don't think he was too pleased with Taylor's performance. And then I'm trying to read this one. One number, 3 words. Okay, one of those days. I'll let it go. Good week overall from Ian. Ask Cannon Pick. So yes, I guess you'll take it if you take a win against Tottenham, draw against Chelsea, and a beating Bayern. You'd take it. And then Paula Lawrence, hopes were high. They were indeed, but got scuppered. And then on to the Grove WhatsApp chat. Alex Monroe, it will do. I think I'm trying to think. Did anyone else? Matt Stacey, again, different camps, not good enough. Shanice struggled against 10. Tom, this isn't a 3-word review, but he's just said "fuck off" the lot of you, so he's not happy. I can't be bothered going through all the groups to chat to work out what he's pissed off about. Daljit, I'll take it. Who else we got? All right, Normie. I'm gonna have to sing this. He's done this on purpose. Woo! I can't even do the song. The Mikel Marino song. I can't even work out how to sing it. Whoa, Mikel Marino. Thank you, Normie. Pleasure as always. I might wail. That's the issue, but I think there's something else. And I think that's that. I can't be bothered looking for any more. There's too many group There's too much.
There's a lot
Too
going
much.
on.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. A lot of swearing. A lot of whatever. Anyway, that's it. So thank you very much for sending those in. Your 3-word reviews. I was informed by my son it's the only part of the show that he listens to, just because he wants to hear his name read out. So so there you go, Gianluca. Enjoy that 5-minute segment just for you. So thanks for sending those in, and apologies if I mispronounced your handle, your name, and all that. I'm not very good at all that. So anyway, so good. Thank you. Right. So
that's not an excuse. You used to mispronounce my name, and now you pronounce it correctly. So don't take that apology, guys.
No, it's because I've got a post-it note which tells me how to phonetically say it, even after all this bloody time.
Oh, that's so...
But I've got that permanently now. Your name phonetically on my printer next to my desk. So if you ever see me looking away while chatting to you, it's because I'm just.
Okay, I got it.
I see. I try. Right. Okay. So there we go. Look, we can have some levity to the situation. It's not all bad. We're 5 points clear. We didn't lose to Chelsea, and to miss. How should we say? Not misquote. To utilize a quote that I'm not sure whether Winston Churchill said or didn't say when a lady called him drunk, and he goes, "Yes, I may be drunk, but I'll be sober in the morning, and you'll still be ugly." Chelsea fans, we may have drawn, but you'll still be Chelsea fans in the morning. So there we go. There you go. I know which side of that fence I want to be in. Anyway, enough talking about that clown car of a club. Moving on to Brentford. A team that I have some affinity with due to just being my local club when I was growing up, stewarding at the stadium. I had membership there, so I'll go to see the odd game there, friends there, etc., etc. So we play them. Now, this is very important. This is a this is a notice for all you listeners. It's a 7:30 kickoff on Wednesday, so not 7:45, not 8 o'clock. Don't be missing the kickoff. It's 7:30 on Wednesday evening, 3rd of December. I think there's a full program that night. So there we go. So Kuziva. Sorry, I had to do that. What you're looking forward to and not looking forward to as far as Brentford at home Wednesday 7:30 is concerned?
So what I'm not looking forward to is not winning. I think that'll be a setback. Brentford's been quite. I've seen them this season. They're quite direct. A lot of long throws. They do maximize on their set pieces, but we can't lose to that. And that's my. What I'm looking forward to, the fact that we should be winning. We're at home. We have a better team. Odegaard has played a few minutes. Gyökeres has played a few minutes. Also, really excited to see Jesus play if he can feature for 5 minutes. But yeah, it's very simple. Don't lose. I don't want us to lose.
Yeah,
and I'm looking forward to us winning at home, and I might be there. So yeah,
nice.
If you guys are there, look out for a really tall guy. Probably in the cold.
We'll do. Yeah, look, I'm exactly that. I was struggling to think about looking forward to, not looking forward to. I like seeing Brentford, as I said. But yeah, a win. Looking forward to a win. Simple. Nothing more, nothing less for that game. And again, like you, not looking forward to we not winning. We can't really countenance that. You know, they do cause teams trouble with their direct, robust style. They have a striker on form. They have good set pieces, and it's sort of similar to Sunderland in terms of their approach. But we're at home, and we're the better team, and we should be able to manage them. So we just got to go in, and it's 3 points, and nothing else is really acceptable. And look, we've had a tough week. I think we can maybe rotate a bit. So yeah, what do you think? I don't know how bad Saliba is. We've got also Villa at the weekend. Yeah, what are you thinking in terms of our lineup for that game?
Okay, I think the back line will probably be the same. Maybe MLS will start, simply because I think what we saw today is the lack of game time. which is why he didn't really step up the way we would have wanted him to step up. But besides that, no changes in the bag. In the midfield, I expect the same midfield. I wonder if Odegaard will start, right? Because Eze has been doing really well, and today was a tough game. Like I'm not gonna say like he played shit. He wasn't there, but it was because the Chelsea were all over us.
Yeah.
And up front, it'd be good to see Gyökeres start. And Saka and Martinelli also just retain their spots. It'll be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised rather if Madueke starts over Saka. I think Saka did also struggle a bit today, and I think it's been a bit of a struggle for a while now. He comes through with his assists, but he's not playing like the Saka that we know. So I wouldn't be surprised if Madueke plays, simply because you've got Villa on the weekend. And Villa have been quietly creeping up, right? We were at Villa, game week 1 to 6, and they're 4th. So that is a big game, and we know Emery is just a pain in the ass. We might see some rotation simply because we've had 3 really, really challenging games, and we have a big game on the weekend. But arguably, this is also a big game. We need to win, right?
Yeah. No, every game's a big game, but a tougher away challenge to a home challenge. Yeah, I think if Saliba's fit, he comes back in. So we just have to see what comes out of that. And after, we got Villa at the weekend, then after that, I think it's Bruges and then Wolves. So again, more opportunity to rotate then. I think maybe we see Gyökeres back up front. Whether you can put him in straight away, I'm hoping again. Are we being cautious with these? Because he hasn't been out for a long time.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah. So it's not like it's like Havertz, who's been practically out for a year. So you will treat that very carefully. And Odegaard, who's hardly played this season, you treat that a bit carefully. Gyökeres, a couple of weeks, you bring them back. So I like the shout about Madueke over Saka, and then. I think hopefully Calafiori. I think it was just just her game state substitution, but who knows, because I don't think we've been nursing him as an injury, but just loads. So we'll see. Maybe Ben White in for Timber, because Timber again, he's been putting in a lot of hard yards, and again today putting a lot of effort. As you said, he was in the 6-yard box getting Gyökeres' way in the 94th minute. Bloody hell, Timber. So it'll be interesting. But Raya. I think maybe White. Well, okay, if Saliba plays, and I think White. If not, then you can't disrupt the back four too much. So I think maybe White, Saliba, Hincapié, Calafiori, MLS, depending if it's an injury or not, and then Zubimendi. I'd say Odegaard and Rice, and then Gyökeres, Madueke, and then maybe Eze out left. But we'll see. It's a tough one. These things are sort of like what we think and what Arteta thinks are very different things. So and we don't get paid the millions he does to choose. So it's not our problem. So yes, Brentford. So said they had a bit of a mixed start to the season. A bit uncertain. They had the new manager, Keith Andrews, ex-set piece coach. Frank went to Spurs. They lost Wissa and Mbremo, which between the two of them last season, that's 39 goals. But they seem to have found their feet. So they sort of started off 1-2, drew 1, lost 4 in the opening 7. But since then, they've won 4, lost 2, beating Liverpool, which I'm not sure if that's noteworthy anymore. And it was a game I was at, and it was a well-deserved win. They also beat Newcastle along the way. It's sort of an archetypal team that makes the most of what they have and their set pieces. They're the Italian Coyote with amazing long throws.
Yeah,
so they're physical. They're big. They look to play on the counter against big teams. And they said they've got a striker in form with Thiago. They seem to just find strikers all the time. That team, he's in form. He's got like 11 this season in 13 matches. But you go back to. Yeah, they've had Tony, they've had Watkins, they even had the little French git who played for Brighton and whatever, I've forgotten his name, Mopé. Yeah, they had Mbremo, Wissa. They've they manage to always somehow unearth centre forwards who get them goals. In the get on a regular basis. And their away form, they've only won one. They've drawn none and lost 5. They've conceded twice as many goals as they've scored. So they scored 6 but let in 12. So their away form, and the last 5 times it's been lost, won, lost. So not great away. They're 10th in the league on 19 points. So I think given where they started, that's pretty good and above Tottenham. But again, is that noteworthy? So how do you what do you think of Brentford? How do you see this game panning out from a sort of tactical perspective, or how do you think they'll approach it, and we'll counter that?
Yeah, so I think we should be mostly fine, especially at home. I think we'll definitely dominate possession. What we need to do is neutralize their set pieces. Today was a warning for Nicolas Jova if he wants to extend his contract with us. You can't just rely on having Saliba and Gabriel fit. You need to make sure that the guys who come and replace them when they're injured will also do a good job. So I think that's a big thing. As you mentioned, they're a big physical team, so we need to neutralize those set pieces. And Thiago's a tricky character. Sorry, I want to speak about FPL again, but he's also on my bench. I got like 22 points. Doesn't matter.
I've got him as my main striker.
Nice.
There's rumours. Well, I checked on FotMob. It says leg injury doubtful. But FotMob is not the most reliable. But carry on. I'll go and do a quick sort.
That's basically it. I expect him to be disciplined. And bar that, I think what we'll do will be too much for them, especially after today's game. I think the frustration that some of the fans are feeling, I'm pretty sure that the players are feeling the exact same. So I'm hopeful that as disciplined and as structured Brentford will be, our players we have superior quality. They will show up, so let's see what happens. It'll be nice for Norgard to start and give Zubimendi a break, but I don't see that. It's a big game. Like, it's still a derby, right? So I expect the best players to come and show up.
Yeah, I mean, on Thiago, it says Thiago was limping as he left the pitch. So he scored 2 goals yesterday late on, but his joy was somewhat short-lived as he was forced out of the game late following a leg injury. Thiago was limping as he left the pitch, and the 24-year-old did go down the tunnel following his removal in the 2nd minute of stoppage time. But they're thinking maybe more of a precaution and game stakes. I think it was like 3-1 at the time. So let's see. Fingers crossed. Even if they do play him, but fingers crossed he is injured. But even if they do play him, we should have more than enough. They've also got Reece Nelson on loan. Now, obviously he can't play, but apparently the Brentford fans are a bit frustrated that they've not seen more of him. Kevin Sade seems to get more of the minutes. Reece comes on very infrequently, and Kevin Sade has been a bit of a frustrating character and player for them. Very hit and miss, can score and get involved, but then also can go missing. So they'd like to see more of Nelson, but they won't see him on Wednesday. And in terms of their set piece threat, it's an odd one because Brentford are ranked joint 2nd for chances created from set pieces, so 15 and 5th. Big chances created like from set pieces, so but they've only scored 6, 3 of which are pens. So it's one of those ones that I think it's more of and that Caicedo does have a hell of a throw in him, but only 3 goals. So again, it's one of those ones that is a perception over reality there. I don't know, but
that's a fair point, because people worry about our throw-ins, but we've scored like
they're rubbish.
Yeah. I think the throw-in thing is all about just chaos. Like, it causes chaos, and any chaos is good for an attacking team that's throwing in. But let's see. Let's hope that we manage that chaos that does come from those throw-ins, I feel.
Yeah. So indeed. So I've not found anything more on Thiago, but there we go. And now I've lost you. I've lost you on the screen. Where are you gone?
You need to have a second screen, man. I have a second screen with 2 windows open. Make sure
I know. I've got 2 monitors, and I know I'm talking to you, and I cannot find.
There we go.
No, I haven't found you. I'm sorry. This is great. This is great podcasting. This. I'm just. Oh, there you go. Sorry. Yeah. You're a browser tab, right? So yeah. So what's your head to head? Yeah. Look, I mean, at the Emirates, yeah, we should be too good for them. I think actually the last time we lost to them was that annoying opening game of the season, 13th of August 2021. Carragher and Neville dancing with the crowd, blah 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 blah. But since then, it's been pretty much Arsenal all the way. A couple of draws. There was the draw last year, but again, that's more where we were last season, but over anything else. So yeah, so we should win. We are the better team. What's your prediction?
My prediction will be 3-0, simply because I think Arteta is going to drill it into them that they've conceded one too many goals these last few weeks. It's time
raining goals.
It's time we shore it up, guys. We need to shore it up. So yeah, I think it's going to be 3-0. I hope that players, I don't know who's going to score. I hope just anyone scores, even if it's own goal, 3 own goals. I don't care. I need us to win.
Get those 3 points. Yeah, I've sort of went 3-1 just as a sort of a nervous tick, as in, just will we always keep clean sheets? But I think it's time we kept a clean sheet.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go, and I'm going to change it. I had 3-1 there. I'm going to go 2-0. So I'm going to just it should be. I want it to go back to those boring, forgettable 2-0 win, perfunctory, move on, no drama here type games. I think that's what we'd like to see. There we go. Right. So that's that. So didn't quite beat those bellends from Stamford Bridge.
Yeah,
and not they're going to be listening, but thank you for all the discourse I've had on the various socials from said Chelsea fans. I said, even my daughter noticed that I was called a bellend on TikTok. There we go. And then the invite to extend it out to me, the headhunters, to have the discussion. Yeah, I just need the address, and I'll see you there. But I did also like the response from Steph from the North Bank pod, who commented, "Ooh, I was thinking of changing careers." So there you go. There we go. So thank you for that. So look, Kuziva, thank you for joining me today. I think we've extracted some joy. It is a bit frustrating. I think we would have taken 1-1 before the game. There's always something that you think you could do better. Opportunities missed. We're 5 points top of the table. We go again. We beat Brentford. We're still a very good team.
Yeah. And I think a lot of our hard games are done. So yeah, good chatting, good reflecting and getting over my frustrations.
Good stuff. Okay, so look, you can follow us on Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, as I said above, Insta. What else is there? YouTube. We also release these on YouTube as well. So look, leave a comment, get in touch, let us know what you think. Even if you're from the opposition, we're more than welcome to have an informed discussion in face or online. And we appreciate that. Also, if you could give us a nice little rating and comment on the pods, that's also very nice and appreciated. The next show will be post Brentford on pre-Villa, likely to be sometime on Thursday. And as always, thank you for making it this far. Thank you for listening. And until the next time, come on, you Gunners.